Hey everyone, I am John Hallett with the John Hallett Podcast. Welcome back. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Joined today with Joshua Hammerling.
What's up?
How are you, Josh?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. Got a ton of stuff going on.
Oh, exciting stuff too.
So never enough time in the day as a small business owner.
You exhausted me last week. Like I'm feeling it this week. I am spent.
Yeah. It's like you start your own business, not to work 40 hours, but 80.
80, right.
Sometimes people, I don't think, really understand
Right.
what goes into running a small business. Is you have to have so many hats. And I'm adding another hat because, I wasn't busy enough.
No, as it was. And the biggest thing with you is I can never find the time just to talk with you sometimes because you are so busy. But you did find time for some cool stuff, though.
Yeah, you got to find time for training. I just talked to a good buddy of mine I played football with him way back when. Shared a super funny picture. It wasn't really funny. It was just we're young and I've got this Gold's Gym sweatshirt on.
The old Gold's Gym.
Young, probably like 17 years old, maybe 18. I'm not sure. And I was telling him, trying to get him back motivated. He said been off track a little bit.
Yeah.
He was doing really good, and I'm like, I own a gym, and I've got to plan it out. I've got to be. Yeah, I'm like, I've got to plan it out. If not, the day gets ahead of you, like that happens to everybody.
Right.
But when you're a small business owner, it's just that compiled on everything else because you're just getting pulled in so many directions. There's always something to do.
Yeah.
There's always something that didn't get done, and you want it done.
Because you're janitor, you're teacher, you're cleaning crew, you're stocker.
Well, secondary. We do have a cleaning crew.
Yeah, I know, but you still you
see
still
me
clean. I've seen you clean.
Don't like
you're wearing like a million hats, dude.
Yeah,
and
but
it's
I don't like that presentation of somebody coming into my facility. You can't
Well,
go,
look
the
good.
cleaning person's going to be here in a couple hours or tomorrow.
Yeah.
I clean it up,
My bottom line is I see you do everything.
Yeah.
I see you do everything. I mean, everything.
So, I do plow the parking lot and shovel when.
That's gangster, though. I like it when you pull. You get the Jeep in that, so yeah.
Yeah, that's just to save money because, gosh, that's expensive. So you can kind of do it yourself. You do end up, it's some time, but you do save a lot. And I get to listen to a podcast, Bill Anderson.
Yeah, created to be. If you haven't listened, tell your friends. That's a free plug, Bill.
Free plug, Bill. We love you. So
all right,
we just did IDS, Integrative Defense Strategies, with Todd Fossey for the last 4 days, and it was really not 4 days because we were on the floor for 12 to 13 hours
every day.
Every day. It was a great experience. What did you get out of it? What's your feedback of us doing that?
So before we go into that question, I want to know how you found dude first.
How I found.
How'd you find him? Because
I found Todd Fossey
amazing.
in IDS through Pete Bearshaw that we had on the podcast.
Oh yeah, it's his podcast, right?
So I met him for the first time in Las Vegas for the Krav Maga Alliance Trial by Fire, and was going to do something with Pete, but as I talked to him, I'm like, I don't want to just do a seminar. I want to train. I want to get certified in this. So we decided to start. I started talking to Todd, and Pete was nice enough to cancel what he got because he was excited that I was excited about becoming an IDS affiliate. So I started talking to Todd, and I was really looking at it as, God, this is cutting edge stuff. And
yes.
This is what I've been looking for in my concealed carry. How to train somebody in firearms, because I've always told people, when I see, go and train somewhere. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do the traditional NRA. I know some Krav Maga people, self-defense people add that to their gym. It just didn't seem what I wanted to do. And when I saw what Todd was doing, I was like, this is cutting edge. And that was before training with him. So that cutting edge is just beyond cutting edge from what he does at just level 1.
Right, and it seems just like, something you just say it's cutting edge, but it really is cutting edge, because now we're going to go back to what you asked me before, is like what I kind of thought of it. So, I'm a CCW person, right? I got a class, they handed me the certificate, and the first words out of their mouth were, congratulations, you know how to defend yourself. And you being your background, fourth degree, you know that you're giving someone a false sense of confidence and security. And that was totally true. And everybody has it. Like if you're a CCW person, you've never learned how to fight with a gun.
Yep.
You have a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Period. Stop. There's no other way to put it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go, like, I love what Todd says about it. You know, don't be a gunfighter, be a fighter with a gun. And that is just so different than I have my concealed carry and I have a gun and I'm safe. Because I've been training for years and years. Beyond that, like, getting on like 30 years. And I know things can happen to me. And that there's always out there somebody training, and just there's always somebody better than you. And not, just because you have a handgun doesn't mean you're safe. And it's even, are you legally safe? The drills that Todd does are fantastic for keeping people just all around safe, of making like decision making in that concealed carry.
He told us to think like a district attorney and how they would charge you.
Yeah.
And that opens eyes, right? That gets you thinking in ways when you want to go to that weapon that was never there before. But in the first 5 minutes of what you brought, and you brought in Todd, in the first 5 minutes I realized that everything I knew wasn't enough. It was gone. Like I realized I had no background whatsoever on how to be a fighter with a gun. Right? I thought I was a gunfighter. I can go to the range. I'm a great shot.
Yeah, you're a great shot.
I'm a great shot, but I'm not a great fighter. And I'm not a great fighter with a gun. That was the first thing that clicked for me. And what it did is, like, I've been taking Krav with you. I like doing it because I enjoy it. But I really find that these things help us find new purpose, right? Because I was great at IDS. I'm great with the marksman, but I have no hand-to-hand skills. And that was one of his bigger criticisms of me. I mean, and it's true. So now I've got this purpose to be like, I've got to get in there with John, and I've got to train. I've got to get my skills up. And having you as that resource is phenomenal, but it didn't diminish wanting to learn more from you. In fact, it made me want to learn all that I could in the hand game.
Yeah, I mean,
you know
I think,
and it's huge. It's huge.
What he says about that, and the other aspect that what I really like is it's geared toward the citizen defender.
Absolutely, me.
That it's not this paramilitary stuff. I'm not doing rim clearing. He has advanced stuff for family we're just on level 1. There's some great things, but it goes on the data of what the average citizen is going to need, not room clearing, not some of this paramilitary stuff. We're civilians. You know, it's a different assignment than somebody that's in the military. It's just different. It's like grappling and stand-up fighting. They're different. Just because you're a good stand-up fighter doesn't mean you're good at the ground game.
Right.
Trying to incorporate all those things, and that's something, you know, we try to do in Krav Maga, and here at Rocky Mountain, this just adds just another circle to our training here at Rocky Mountain.
Yeah, the first thing you said to me when I was asking what Krav is, really you said it's practical, because I'm going to use it, right? It's going to be available to me, and IDS added another practical piece, right?
Absolutely.
And that changed my whole outlook on it all.
Yeah, and I think what I like about it is, and you came up with it, was when we're like, how are we launching this to our existing students or somebody just coming into our gym, that we really are, we had 2 pillars. We had our Krav Maga pillar and our fitness pillar. And, you know, as people advance, like, you know, there's fighting in Krav Maga, there's ground fighting, there's stand-up fighting, and it goes on and on. We're just going to add that IDS pillar in there. But if you come to RMSDF, we are the only affiliate for Todd, and he's been ripped off a ton. Yeah. And I'm like, if you want to train direct at the source, Rocky Mountain Self-Defense and Fitness is the place to do it. We're the Douglas County affiliate for him. Yeah. But you can do our IDS track, and maybe you do karate over here. Yeah. Maybe you're, you know, a wrestler. Maybe you did that in high school. You know, you're doing BJJ. You can incorporate IDS into your existing circle of what you're training, and you're just going to be safer. And that's how I feel after doing, you know, I've done Krav Maga now for, I think I'm on the 21st or 22nd year of training Krav Maga, it just adds a whole nother dimension to my ability as a warrior, as as Todd says, a citizen defender. Here we look at it as our peaceful warrior program. We want to be as safe as we can. We've done stuff for concealed carry and working that, it just blows that away what we were kind of working on.
That's why I came
for
to
a
you,
skill set,
because you were going to help me work on the disarms of pistols and rifles, right?
Yeah,
And
I mean that's a big part of Krav Maga.
Absolutely.
Just their weapon, the hand-to-hand weapon disarms are the best. They've been ripped off around. Krav Maga does fantastic hand-to-hand skills, and this is just going to add a skill to transition to a higher force option when you are justified to do that, and how to keep that weapon. And it might be, you have a knife, you don't want to have a gun, maybe you have a knife. How are you accessing your pepper spray? It's all really, right? I mean, would you agree? I mean, we've been talking about it. If you like, why have pepper spray? That's my next level. That's what I'm comfortable with. You can just add what we're doing in IDS to that. And you may feel like my wife has never done concealed carry because she's like, I don't feel comfortable with a firearm.
Right. Yeah.
And
right.
this is just huge. Right. If you have concealed carry, this just ups it so much, because it's all the important things. What if somebody goes for your gun?
Yeah.
How to access it? I was telling one of my Peaceful Warrior classes yesterday that I'm like, I have changed my EDC.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have changed it, and even Todd let me realize that for myself, because he's not dogmatic.
No,
he has it. How you hold the pistol is
and
how you hold it.
You came to the conclusion, right? That was the best part, because he's a master educator, and he just kept asking you questions, right?
Like literally, he has just an unbelievable system. I tell people that he's thought out IDS is just incredible, and plug it into Krav Maga and you just upped your game 100%.
You keep saying plug it, and it's like this crazy symbiotic relationship. They both
because like what he told you have done a ton of shooting.
A lot.
And he told you need
hand skills.
So you need to learn that hand-to-hand aspect of fighting to be a better fighter. The clinch zone. It is,
and it gave
really
me goals, right? It gave me new goals to get back in line with you, to go as many belts up as I can, to get that hand-to-hand, so I can be ready in a year to go onto my second level, right?
Yeah.
And he's bluntly honest, but it's stuff I need to hear. And a lot of people don't like to hear that you don't know how to fight with a gun, or you don't know how to fight. It's hard. It is. It's everybody thinks that, I can do it in the moment. I'll be able to handle myself, and that is bull. You know what?
Yeah. Unconscious competence.
And the other thing is that I never really thought about how someone going for my gun. I never really thought about it. What happens if they get in there and I lose my concealment, and suddenly we're struggling over a pistol, or we're struggling over a knife? Like, you guys have given us a background on how to deal with some of that, but this was a game.
But even just fighting for your gun, it's out of holster.
Woo! And
it's all great stuff. It's stuff people need, and you can deny it all you want,
but you need it.
But you need it, because when you start testing it, the way Todd has over the last 13 years, I mean, I wish I found him 13 years ago, and that's what I said about Krav Maga when I found it.
Yeah.
I wish I found this before I found Taekwondo. And when you find it, and you got to make that shift. And do you want to
stay on the cutting edge?
Yeah, do you want to stay on the cutting edge? And that's something I've always believed in, giving my people the best thing. And that's, Rocky Mountain Self-Defense and Fitness. That's why we have an affiliate as Rocky Mountain Krav Maga, but really as a whole of what I look at, my gym, that's just an affiliate name. It's great. It plays well with people that just love Krav Maga, because I see t-shirt sales on Rocky Mountain Krav Maga being better than Rocky Mountain Self-Defense and Fitness. But I believe, self-defense incorporates everything. A lot of people look at self-defense as it's just self-defense, but I'm like, that's fighting. Self-defense is fighting. It's every aspect of that realm.
Well, it's more than fighting. It's fighting to go home.
Yeah. You should be in shape. Is something I've always believed. You should be healthy. I mean, just for longevity.
First thing you told me to do.
And the stronger you are, the harder you are to kill.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You're strong. Be as strong as you can. We're just incorporating this IDS into that self-defense aspect of Rocky Mountain. And I've always wanted to be cutting edge. Like nobody was doing, well, I can't say nobody, but it was not popular. Nobody knew Krav Maga. When I added Krav Maga, you tell people about it, and they'd be like, what's that? You could talk to law enforcement. Hey, I'm doing Krav Maga. What's that? Now give it,
It's been what, 10
10
years later-ish?
We'll just say, 10 years when I was in it. Now we're going back to 21 years ago. Around that 10-year mark, it was getting more household recognition and in some movies.
Because prior to 2000, I had never heard of Krav. It was occasionally mentioned in some movie or something. You say a Krav Maga expert, and everybody would be kind of like, it
now
sounds
it's pretty well known.
Yeah, and it's really practical. Of all the stuff I have taken, it's been the most practical, at least in that realm, right?
Yeah.
And that's where IDS is going to just jump into that practicality. I want to ask you a question, Alice, because you are a 4th degree. You are one of the most skilled people I know. Your hand skills are amazing. And to see you change for a moment, knowing that, like, you learned a ton, and there was a big flip for you, and I saw it, right? You were like, describe that for me. What was the moment you're sitting there and you're like, where's this been my whole life, right? So describe for me when that happened and what was going on, and when did it grab?
All right, I'd love to talk about that, but I want you guys just to hold on one quick second while we have a word from our sponsors, and we'll be right back. All right, gang, welcome back. Thanks for standing by.
Where'd you find that? When did the big switch happen?
That big switch really happened almost day one with Todd.
Yeah.
That I immediately went, this is awesome.
Yeah.
More so than I thought it was going to be.
Did it hit you on the lecture side, or were we on the floor when it really grabbed you? Because the lecture he was giving was amazing, right? I was sitting there looking at it, and I was like, whoa. So was it in that first part, or was it the moment you hit the floor when you had that aha moment?
It was probably the lecture.
Was it really? It grabbed you that early?
It was probably the lecture, training with him, but then as you went on, it was more and more.
Right.
That this guy is just taking it to another level that I have not seen out there. When you start to talk about self-defense for the concealed carry holder, but he really takes it into account for just, you don't have to do the pistol craft. It's going to help you. The things that are going on in that class, there's just so much that's just going to make you better if you're just training in that class. Just grappling, stand-up wise alone, for that weapon to stay in your holster, to retain that, takes a lot of training and getting better and better at it.
Absolutely.
So that really just,
that's where it grabbed you, huh? That's that moment.
it grabbed me, and I went, I need to be doing this more, and I want to train with this guy more. It just takes it to a different level.
So let me ask you another question. A guy that's done Krav his whole life and has poured himself into it, was there a moment where you were like, did I make a mistake?
No.
Okay, I didn't know if that ever, because you see those people sometimes they train for something, they live their life for it, and they see something new, and then there's that buyer's remorse. But
no, because you need those skills. It just makes you a better warrior. It's what he told you. You need to learn more ground. Or hey, maybe you get a great wrestling game, but your punch sucks. It's hey, maybe you should do a little bit more striking in there. It's where our fight program here is a bit more MMA based here. I've been doing that for years of like, let's keep it on the realistic street side. We're not training for competition here. We're training to go home.
Sport.
So we've been doing that side for years, and that's where you have not gotten into that in our gym. So you don't even have that aspect of it.
Sure.
So it just adds a new component. It wasn't, I wish I found it earlier so I was safer. And wouldn't we all like to be a higher level than we currently are, right? you perceive yourself as a higher level, but Todd brought you down respectively.
Oh, I thought I'd do fine.
Yeah.
And then once he said, "John, go get Sparkle Sash's gun." If you don't know, they were calling him Sparkle Sash. That was my call sign.
That was your call
I
sign.
wear that with pride. I don't care.
Yeah,
I'm Sparkle Sash. Don't ever forget that. When someone gets their ass kicked someday by a Sparkle Sash, you're gonna remember it. You're gonna remember it. But I digress. Where was I at on that? But what it taught me was that
when I went for your pistol.
Yeah, and then John was on me, and my pistol was out. And you had such good hand skills. It was there, and then you did something with me, and I remember having to roll across the ground because I don't know what you did to me, but you sent me down there, and you had my pistol. Not only did you grab me in the moment, you did some crop stuff on me, and it was over. So it was beautiful because it invigorated that
right? Stuff. I don't think I ever hit you.
Yeah, I don't think there was a strike that you did. It was
I didn't hit you, and the amplitude was a little bit above your level.
Sure. And I couldn't even see it coming. That was the thing.
So
the person who would have been, whose butt you would have been kicking would have just not. It would have been amazing. And now that I'm training heavier in the ground, when I was training this morning, I found myself in the positions. I'm like, this Krav is great, and then suddenly I realized I have access to a pistol. Right, I have access to a new weapon.
If it's that deadly force scenario, and I think
it created new opportunities.
I think that's what people need. That you can just do so much training with the CERT pistol and get so many trigger pulls that it's going to save you
the money
more than what you're paying for this class, and you're going to get those decision making skills that you're not going to get on any range. Anywhere. You're going to be able to train with inert weapons, see if you're hitting somebody as the drills progress. Mm-hmm. You're going to see what you're doing and see that laser center mass. Mm-hmm. There's just so much we can do just in a gym and test it. Where Todd has tested it with some of the highest level BJJ, UFC, MMA guys at his instructor school, Minnesota Martial Arts, with Greg Nelson. It's just fantastic what he's already put in. Right. So I don't have that buyer's remorse. I'm just looking forward to.
Good, because I was hoping you didn't have it, right?
Like, I was like, this isn't. It's just like I'm safer. Like you're just safer for it. I look even at my Taekwondo. Like I got some kicks, and it doesn't. It just makes you a better athlete. Sure. Learning different, a Muay Thai kick versus a karate kick, Taekwondo kick. It just makes you better. It made me. I had an experience. What I told people of relating to the traditional martial artists when I started Krav Maga. So I don't look at it as, I regret it and buyer's remorse. It adds to your skill set. Whatever you do, it's just adding, it's making you better. So my biggest thing is how am I implementing it into what we do here at RMSDF? And your pillars are fantastic. You can do the IDS pillar and the fitness pillar here if you wanted. You'd be saving money, and you're going to be getting a coach versus the cheapo big box things, which I like having a coach. So or you could do IDS and do your thing here, just or you can do IDS and go, man, I need to more hand to hand. Well, I'm going to save money by doing it here at RMSDF by doing the joint membership.
And I think that's where the symbiotic relationship comes in, because once you realize both sides will show you what you lack.
Yeah.
And then here at RMSDF, we can help you fill in those pieces of the puzzle.
Gaps.
Right, and it's going to be amazing because this is going to revolutionize self-defense. I mean, your Krav school is already really revolutionary, in my opinion, in the way it teaches, right?
Yeah.
This just is a new piece to hold you guys up, like you said, with those pillars. And the thing that's holding me up is my life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If one of those pillars breaks, or I'm uneven and I break, I didn't realize how uneven I was. Sure, I had a great shooting and marksman. I mean, Todd gave me a huge compliment when he said, your marksman skills are great. Like, I began to I almost got emotional. He's like, your hand skills suck, but you can learn.
Yeah.
And that's where John's going to get you.
Yeah. And that's where we're going. So you can have those pillars, and then you can bring all three of them together, or two, into our Peaceful Warrior program, and that's really our advanced training. That's an invitation only. It's always been that way. You got to earn your way up into it, that you're really serious about your training. Yeah. And that's going to be the tip. That's where advanced training is going to happen. you really want to bring your training into that, what I call a peaceful warrior. You know, if you take Todd's, like, I want to be the ultimate citizen defender.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I think he doesn't use the word ultimate, but you can go all the way up to the tip of his pyramid, right to level 8, where you're getting all of these skill sets on each level and making you safer. We just want to add that into what we do here, because there's times you're going to need those hand-to-hand skills.
Absolutely.
You had in your test where you had a guy with a stick in front of you. I went, well, there was an IDS skill under stress that you missed, but fail, good.
Yeah. Rush to it.
Rush to fail. But there was a Krav Maga skill when you decided, shit, I don't think I can draw on this guy. I'm gonna run, but now I got chased down.
Yeah.
From behind. As I turned, it was in 2 steps, I believe. I mean, we could get
it was so
fancy.
fast on top of me. I was just trying to put the pillar in between me and him.
Yeah,
That's all I was
he got
thinking to do.
around a pillar,
Instantaneously.
or what are you, a street pole,
Right.
whatever. You're trying to go around a car. You were going around an object, and he still got you.
In no time.
And there was an opportunity to do a hand-to-hand skill,
Yeah.
and that's what I've
And I
always
missed it,
looked.
and I
And
missed
that's what I look at. Like my concealed carry, I'm just adding because I'm like, gosh, what are you going to go to? Well, you got to go to the right skill.
Right,
And
and
I
I would
see that.
And in your video, you saw me trying to decide what I
You
wanted
went
to
twice.
do. I was trying to go to my weapon, and I didn't. I was
You
trying to make
touched
that
your
decision.
shirt
Yeah, you saw it
twice
coming, right?
before you decide.
Yeah.
And it was quick. I mean, we were watching it in slow mo.
Yeah.
But you went to your shirt going twice before you ran, and
Yeah.
it's it's just how people are judged out there now. Our
Yeah.
poor law enforcement that put their life on the line every day out there, and they're being judged so highly and so critically of what they're doing to go home to their families. I'm like, put that politician out there any freaking day of the week, and we've all probably seen some of those news videos where somebody in the gun world or in law enforcement has put that newscaster in one of those scenarios, and they're making the wrong decision, and that's what IDS is so great.
Right, because it gives you new decisions to use, like new opportunities in decisions to
It
use.
breaks the traditional gun.
Oh, yeah.
The gun industry hates them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the traditional
They should embrace
stuff,
it. They should.
Yeah, they hate them
But they
because what they're training and what they've been doing, and saying, hey, you took our pistol 1, you're now able to defend yourself. Todd's just throwing that completely upside down.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I like his style. He's
I thought
no dogma.
Nope.
It's it's a new paradigm.
And he will gladly change something the moment it needs to change.
Yeah, and that's
And
where it's
retrain it.
similar to Krav Maga. Like if it's not working,
Exactly.
we're gonna throw it out, and that's what I've always liked to Krav Maga. We're going to shift. We're going to try to be better. We do more ground and more escapes from some of the more common BJJ attacks in Krav Maga, because when I started, it was karate and taekwondo, and now the industry has changed. Probably the most popular martial art out there is probably BJJ, as far as martial arts go, out there, and you got big names talking about it. So it's got big celebrity Joe Rogan and Jocko Willings, big celebrities out there talking about it. So it's no longer the Karate Kid,
Right? Yeah.
movies,
Which was
and
the 80s for me.
Jean-Claude Van Damme, and
Bloodsport.
all of those movies that were more traditional martial arts based. So I think this is just absolutely fantastic.
Can I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
So when we were, we did have a police officer train with us. So what do you think that would bring to a police, anybody who's a police officer that wants to come in and train with us? I think it's huge, but I want to hear your opinion.
It is going to keep you so much safer. My wife was just talking to a Castle Rock detective last night, and she was trying to do her best to explain IDS, and her, limited. I think she did an okay job of explaining it, but they said, wow, that sounds a lot better than BJJ. They didn't like it, which I'm like, okay, they don't like it. I like it. I think I was just talking to a friend that does BJJ exclusively, has a Krav Maga background, and I'm like, I love it. I don't have enough time in the day to get my fitness workout in some days. How much time do you have I've got to pay the bills, just because you have a gym doesn't mean you're like, I'm just doing it for fun.
Right, because then you got to do an hour of training, then you do an hour of Krav every day on top of it. Now you're going to add essentially an hour of IDS too.
So
that's 3 hours of your day in training. How do you...
I balance it. I balance it.
Yeah.
So you can't do everything in one day.
Yeah.
So I just try to balance myself all around is how I do it. But so I think the law enforcement officer is just going to keep you safer. The civilian version, he is coming out with a law enforcement version, but the biggest thing is arrest and control. Generally speaking, this is going to keep you safer. He's like, I've got police departments currently as affiliates, and it's the police department, it's the police chief that has sought him out, and just their defensive tactics instructors did what we did, and they're adding it into their defensive tactics. So it just speaks volumes for what Todd's doing, and it's going to keep you safer. It's going to up your weapon retention through the roof, and your skills to be fighting for that weapon is just going to be through the roof. I'm sure Nick would say the same thing. He's 30 years law enforcement.
And even the experience he had as an LEO shined through even during the training, because it was just another piece.
It was just another skill set.
And I was like, wow, he was great.
He had another skill set. As much as he goes, we've changed things over the decades, and it helped him, but it's also he has a skill set that he's building off of. That's why I always tell people,
dovetailed right in.
It's just that as men, we feel we're protectors. But I gotta tell you guys, if you've made it 30 minutes into this, it's just such a false sense of security. That the average man, I can fight, and you have that, but you do not.
You don't.
If you are not training, you are not safe. You can think all you want, but you've got to open your eyes to go, I need to train. Just because I'm a man, me man.
Right. Check that ego at the door.
Everybody. You got to check your ego.
From the first one. Check your ego at the door.
Yeah, check your ego. And I know on any given day there's somebody better than you. That's why you train. That's why I think I want to suck less. Because there's somebody out there better.
Yeah.
And you got to check your ego. And if you're doing zero, or you're the guy, I love the guy that tells me he has his concealed carry. I just want, before this, I just have wanted to just go after their gun or go, what are you going to do in this situation?
Now you'll be able to show people. Like, you could have students just watch one of our go after the gun drills.
But it's never mind just fighting. If you're not
prepared, but you'd be able to show that here at RMSDF. You get to,
you can
physically
show it. You can put it in an inert weapon in his hand.
God, exactly.
You don't have to get into let's unload, let's do a dry fire. You can put a SIRT pistol in their hand, and they can pull that trigger. You're going to feel a real trigger pull.
And then suddenly...
And you're going to see if you're putting hits on, or if somebody's able to get your weapon. But it's just such denial. It's the guy like, I got in a fight in high school, and you're 30 years old. Never mind 40, 50, 60. Or I've never been...
If your body's not doing it, it's not used to it.
It's going to up your confidence level. Yeah, it makes me depressed when people say, I know how to fight. And I'm like, you just don't know. It's just that incompetence...
You know how to fight like you think you know how to fight, and that's really what you guys have been doing with me. Josh, you really don't know much. Get in there. But you haven't been jerks about it. You're just, get in there. Let's train. Let's get this done together. Let's just get better.
That's what we're all
about. That's what we
here.
do at RMSDF. Just get you better.
Yeah,
and Todd loved that I'm just the social media guy here, guys. There's nothing special about me. There's not. I'm not the best fighter. I'm not some former special operator. I'm just an entertainer. And by the end of this, I felt more confident, and I realized what I didn't have.
Yeah.
So it was amazing. So I want to thank Todd for showing up, but I want to thank you for getting us all together. You're the one that inspired everything. You're the one that's going to change it.
I really just want to make myself safer. At the same time, I want to keep my community safer.
And
So.
if I can do it, you can do it. Everybody says that, but it's true. You know, you take a guy that's just an entertainer, you can turn him into a real citizen defender.
Yes, and that's what we are looking to do. So
We will.
if you're in the Douglas County area, check out rmsdf.com. We are beta testing where classes are going to go and figuring out kind of the harder aspects of
Send us a message. Tell us when do
you want to train.
When you want to train.
What's good for you?
Because we're going to find out what happens. We're going to make sure we make it available for you. Because John has been on fire about making sure this gets
we
done.
want to get it out there and keep our community safer. That's what we're all about here, and being on the cutting edge. We want to be.
And that's you. You're the one that was on the cutting edge of this. You're the one that.
Well, Todd Fosse's on the cutting edge.
You identified it for me, but that's still on the cutting edge, right?
Yeah,
You're
finding it and implementing it is huge, because sometimes people don't want to implement. You know, they're afraid of what might happen. We're just adding a pillar to the training here to keep people safer, and we want to be cutting edge in the self-protection realm. So there's going to be so much more to come, because I look at it as when I found Krav Maga, and I remember having a conversation with Darren Levine, head of Krav Maga Worldwide, that, man, when I found Krav Maga, like, whoa, it was just huge. And he goes, yeah, what I found was, as I walked down the hallway and I saw 2 doors, but I got to the second door and there's a third and a fourth and a fifth. And that's how I look at an IDS. Like, it has just opened another door, you're into another room, but it really just brings all those circles together. Everything is come together in a way that I've always been looking for as a person that's done concealed carry for, I think it's 17 years, something around there.
Yeah, I always forget how long we have it, right? Because it just
I
sits around
didn't
here.
I didn't carry for different times. There was a big chunk. I carried for a couple years, and then I really kind of debated of like, oh, the hand-to-hand skills, when are you going to use it? What if I lose it? And then I went back to carrying now for like the last 10 years, and going, IDS is just bringing another circle in that's got a ton of other great circles in it. Todd has done a fantastic job with IDS, and it's just going to make all of our community safer.
If you live 100 miles away, you need to come in. If you live 2 miles away, you need to come in. I don't care how far away you are, you need to let us know when we can help you with this, because we want you in. You need to visit the website, rmsdf.com. I think we've got a tab up there now for it, don't we?
Yep,
so
we've got check it out. We've got it on the schedule.
Get signed up. Howard John's
classes.
shaking that out. Get signed up for that class. You need this. I cannot stress to you enough how much you need this, and those around you will need it.
Yeah, we've got a contact form on the IDS Citizen Defender page on the website. So, hit that. Let us know what would work for you if you are interested in it. We'd love to have you in, but hit that contact form, on our page there on rmsdf.com. That'll get you in contact with me or Jamie, our manager here, that we sent away to make phone calls to people like you. So under our class tab, we have IDS Citizen Defender on rmsdf.com. We'd love to hear from you. If you're an existing member, we're going to be rolling this out here in April, and it's gonna be a great add-on. You can talk to me or about what that add-on is. If you're a peaceful warrior, you can talk to me as well on how that's going to be implemented into our existing Peaceful Warrior program. I want to thank you guys for tuning in today and listening to this. We're really super excited to add this cutting edge program onto what we do here at rmsdf.com. It goes hand in hand to my philosophy for both the Clear Sky channel and Rocky Mountain. So thanks a ton for tuning in here with us. We will talk to you guys next time. I am John Hallett, and I had Joshua Hammerling, better known as Sparkle Sash. My call sign was terrible. I'll get a new call sign here in April.
We're going to tease that next time. You guys got to tune in the next episode that we see what they called John.
Well, that's going to be in April. So really May. I'm going to train with Todd in the end of April. So thanks a ton. We will talk to you guys next week. Have a great day. Be safe out there. Be smart. Train hard. Train more.